The biggest determinant of personal happiness over time is actually the quality of our relationships. There's a big Harvard longitudinal study that proved that over decades and decades. And so I think we all have had that experience. When we don't have quality relationships, we feel that. We feel that loss and that void. And when we do, we feel how rich life can be.
Welcome to GMP, the Great, Glorious, and Glamorous, aka the Going North Podcast. I'm your host, best-selling author, and certified self-leadership trainer with the John Maxwell team, Dom Brightman. And this is the podcast where authors from around the world help you realize that success is tangible. You'll leave with at least one new tip of inspiration or information or even motivation every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday. Now let's get on with the show. How's it going, my friend? It's your host, Dominic Dom Brightman here, just giving you a quick forewarning / disclaimer that, hey, these podcasts are recorded on average 2 to 3.5 months ahead of the release date. So if you're hearing today's episode, most likely it was recorded 2 to 3.5 months before it was launched. So just throwing it out there in case you hear something that may sound a little off. That's the reason why. Now let's get on with the show. And today on the Highlight Reel Builder for Authors, known as GMP, the Great, Glorious, and Glamorous, it's the Going North Podcast, and we got another super special, awesome human for you today because my goodness, gotta thank my good buddy Bananas Foster, aka his real name, Robert B. Foster, the Shut Up and Grind Podcast, which yours truly is guested on last year. My goodness, and it connected me with a super special, awesome human because the doc is in, y'all, the doc is in. Because today's guest, a dating expert and inspiring speaker who empowers and advises on dating strategy, online dating, mindset, image, partner suitability, communication, and commitment. Try saying that 7 times fast. And her wonderful doctorate is in clinical psychology, y'all. That's right, the CP, not 3. And she founded the Find Love at Last company in 2014 to empower you. That's right, you listening right now to find the love you've been dreaming of, and has been a matchmaker. You heard that right, folks. Matchmaker, coach, and image consultant for 9 years, and she brings more than 15 years. You heard that right, more than a teenager. 15 years of rich personal dating experience before finding the wonderful man whom she is happily married with. So let's give it up for the fabulous HB herself, Dr. Holly Battey. How you doing today, Dr. Holly?
I'm doing great, Dom. Thanks so much for having me.
Yes, today it's great having you in. That's right, you're in the danger zone helping folks become connected. They get to find their minus to their plus, or maybe their jelly to their peanut butter.
That's right. That's right.
Oh, yeah, that's right indeed. That's right indeed. But as you know, all introductions aren't allowed to be 21 days long since that involves drinking, so mind filling in any cavities I think I may have missed about you.
I think it was pretty complete. Yeah. Yeah, I'm a psychologist, matchmaker, dating coach, just helping people find the love meant for them.
Woohoo! That's what I'm talking about, indeed. Up with folks find love indeed. So my goodness, so going back to the 13-year-old Holly, which is probably like, I don't know, freaking 12 years ago, you probably didn't even see yourself being a dating coach at first. You probably saw yourself as an astronaut, right?
Yeah, I've just not been so into space. um, yeah, I actually wanted to be an interior decorator when I was in high school. And my high school counselor pulled me into her office one day and I guess wanted to know my plan for my life. And that was it. And for whatever reason, she didn't think that I was cut out for that, or perhaps she thought I was more cut out to be a counselor like she was. And so that kind of set me out on a course to study psychology and get my doctorate. And it was a very long journey, but went to school from age 4 to forever. straight, straight through. And yeah, so it was quite a journey. But, and it took me a long time to figure out that this was my niche and my mission and really my calling. I got a bit burnt out after getting all my hours and being in college for 11 years and all of that. So I took a step away and I went into executive search where I was matching top talent with corporations and startups in Silicon Valley. I did that for quite a few years. It was lucrative, but not terribly meaningful for me. And so when I eventually got laid off, I saw it as a real opportunity to find my calling. I had no idea what that was, though, at the time. And I pursued all my passions. And it eventually, after a couple of trips to Africa and a bunch of other endeavors, led me right here. When I got back, I started my business, Find Love at Last, to help conscious singles find love. And I've been doing it ever since.
Sweet. That's what I'm talking about indeed. That's what I'm talking about indeed. And beautiful thing about it is that she really shows how driven you were and probably still are about really getting through and busting through those goals and being the best possible version of yourself ever. So my goodness, so with all the work that you're doing now, is there like a big giant goal that's like on your plate, on your mind, that you're thinking of tackling in the future?
Great question, especially at the beginning of the year, right? When most of us are thinking about that. My mission is just to help more conscious singles find love this year. And, I work with women, I work with men. And I think what I want your listeners to know is that we all have more power than we think to manifest the love of our dreams. And that power lies within us, just as, the common denominator in all of our relationships is us. And there's power in that and looking at that. There's also that inner power to really manifest your dreams in every part of your life, including love.
Uh, Sounds good indeed. Sounds good indeed. So there's no set number. I'm guessing just going as far as you can go in terms of hooking up as many conscious singles who need to be hooked up this year.
Yeah, I'm looking for big numbers. I want to help a lot of people,
Uh,
because there's so many people who are lonely out there, and especially 2 years into a pandemic, um, it's actually surprisingly a really great time to find love. A lot of people wouldn't necessarily guess that, but after so long in a pandemic, there's a lot of people who maybe at the start weren't looking for a serious relationship, or maybe they were in a relationship or married and aren't now. I have a lot of clients like that who were married at the beginning of the pandemic but aren't now. And a lot of my clients are starting over for the first time or haven't dated, in decades. And so I work with a lot of 40 plus conscious singles, a lot of people who've been divorced before and know they don't want to do it the same way again. So, yeah.
yeah. And that's a good point that you actually brought back to my dark memory because I forgot about that. That was like one of the biggest things about the pandemic. It's like you're going in with somebody. It's like, hey, more time together. Oh, crap. Maybe I should have had less time. Who the fudge is this person? And then they just left. And I'm pretty sure reinvention is probably now one of the biggest themes of that, I guess, new middle in the way that you're helping your clients out with now.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people are more serious minded now. I think after facing our mortality and having to assess so much risk and everything, um, more people are interested in finding their life partner than ever before. So, so it's a really really good time to look for love. And the other reason it's a really good time right now is that we're actually in the midst of the busiest dating season of the year right now, which is from Christmas to Valentine's Day. And this last Sunday was actually the busiest online dating night of the year. It's always the first Sunday after New Year's. So this is a really good time to be looking for love.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Cuff somebody, y'all. Let me stop.
Nothing season.
That's right. Cops are like, that's cup of seasons for me every day, but I ain't about to cuffing. So with the wonderful field out there of a lot of folks, especially with this whole loneliness crisis, which is especially in America on top of the pandemic and everything else going on, what's probably been one of the biggest hurdles you've been helping your clients to face? Because I'm pretty sure, hope at least I hope they have a higher level of self-awareness after getting through the immediate first 2 years of the darn pandemic.
Yeah, definitely. Um, you know, a lot of people that I work with, they think that, or before they come to work with me, they think that, love will just happen to them, that it's happenstance or serendipity. And, that's how it is in the rom-coms. And that's how we kind of hope it's going to be. But for so many, it's not that way. And so I find that kind of like we do in the other aspects of our life, like, that we don't know a certain domain, we hire a wealth advisor, to help us plan for retirement. Or at this time of the year, a lot of people are looking to lose weight and be more fit. So we hire a fitness trainer or a career coach when we're looking to transition careers. A lot of people do not employ the same strategy when it comes to their love life. And I think that's really a mistake because, we all have blind spots and we don't always know what we don't know. And so one piece is just becoming more intentional in our search for love, because the biggest determinant of personal happiness over time is actually the quality of our relationships. There's a big Harvard longitudinal study that proved that over decades and decades. And so I think we all have had that experience. When we don't have quality relationships, we feel that. We feel that loss and that void. And when we do, we feel how rich life can be. So I think really pursuing your love life as intentionally as you would any other aspect of your life really serves you. And then also adding strategy to that. We tend not to think of our love lives as a place that we need to employ strategy, but we do if we really want to get the love that was meant for us. Another piece that people come to me to work with on is becoming really clear on who their perfect partner is. They tend to not have been so intentional in their past. And so, really clarifying and getting really clear on who your ideal partner is. I equate it to going to the airport and really needing a vacation and showing up, to the airport, talking to the clerk and saying like, all right, I really need to go on vacation. And what's the first thing she's going to ask you? Where do you want to go and when? And same with love. If we don't know who our ideal partner is, we're not going to be able to attract them. We're not going to know who to say yes to and who to say no to. And we often are thinking very much about what we want, but not so much about what we need. And we tend to be happiest when our needs are met.
Ah, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Two great thoughts you just dropped there, especially about intentionality, because that's really kind of what holds people back is just the lack of intentionality, being intentional and having a strategy for where you want to go and being able to adapt once the once plan A fails, because well, life tends to punch us in the face, and where we get the two by four by the universe, as some like to say, and just have to be ready and just deal with those things when they come. So my goodness, some heck, even what I love about what you're doing now is that you're basically a product of past products because you actually was coached yourself before you even became a dating coach.
Yes, yes, I was. I have had a lot of coaches in my life, so I'm a product of the industry for sure. I think my first coach was my dissertation coach back in graduate school. I didn't want to take forever and be what they call an ABD, an all but dissertation. So,
That's what they want to be.
yeah, so hired a dissertation coach and got my dissertation written in 8 months and moved on with my life. And yeah, that was my very first coach. So yes, I'm a big proponent of coaching in different ways. I've business coach now and I've had many coaches through the years. So yeah, I funny enough, I didn't have a love coach though before manifesting my soulmate. I wish that I had I had to forge my own path, and that's one of the reasons that I created my masterclass, my Love at Last masterclass, because in order to manifest soulmate love, the type of love that most of us want, most of our parents were just looking for a provider for their families and a future co-parent, you know. But now we're wanting so much more from our partners than ever before. I think part of it is because we're living separately from our families. And so we're needing far more from our partners than ever before. And so we're asking for more. We want our partner to be, a spiritual partner, an activity partner, a lover, a best friend, a co-parent, the list goes on, a muse, all these different roles. And there's nothing wrong with that. But in order to find soulmate love, it requires a totally different path than just dating to date. And most of us don't know what that path is. I know it took me a really long time to figure it out. And I'm a psychologist and more discerning than most, which is why after I found my soulmate, I started coaching my clients as to how to find soulmate love. And then they found love too. And so I then created the class because I used to always say, gosh, there's no class on love. There's no class on how to do healthy relationships and how to find the ideal partner for you. And so I created it. I created it so that, you know, singles don't have to fall down the rabbit holes, of which there are so many, and just to really expedite your path to love.
That's what I'm talking about. Expedite your path to love indeed. That's what I'm talking about indeed.
Because life is short. Life is so short, and want to get that right sooner rather than later and have that quality of life.
Oh yeah, you can say that again. And if I'm not mistaken, I think you found your soulmate through one of your passion products, or should I say a passion hobby, a spoken word that you were gonna go down one at one point or another, right?
Yes, yes, definitely. Actually, I met my amazing husband in college, and we both were in other relationships, and took us a really long time to figure out that we were supposed to be together and that he was really the one for me. I've been searching, since I was 17, and and so I'd gotten close before, and I'd had some really wonderful men in my life, and I'd had some not so wonderful men in my life, and after my last relationship ended, I really did considerable inner work, and I wrote off men for a short time, which I never thought I would do. And I just really focused on myself in a way that I never before had. And after 8 months, I happened to write a poem, which I'm not a poet, but or maybe I am now. But I wrote a poem. I don't tend to think of myself as a poet, but for whatever reason, I spent a couple of months just, writing about my last relationship. It was really cathartic for me, and just kind of wordsmithing and put a lot of attention and effort into it. And at the end of it, I thought, I'd really never done this before either. And especially for someone who was at that time very fearful of public speaking, for whatever reason, I felt compelled to go to a spoken word event and perform this poem. Two things, very outside of what I had done before. And so what I did was I called up my friend who I'd called every couple of years, when I had an extra concert ticket, and invited him to go with me. I didn't want to do it alone at that time. And he graciously said yes, as he often did. And ironically, I never actually read the poem publicly. I tried to, but it was a busy night that night. But what's so lovely is, and it took me a while to realize this, but that very poem that was the cathartic end to my former relationship, it's the very thing that brought me together with my now husband. So, yeah, so it's really a poetic ending and a poetic beginning.
That's right. She's a poet and she somewhat knows
I guess I do know. Haven't written a poem since, but
it.
if one constitutes being a poet, then I guess I am.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. It's definitely a beautiful story when I first heard it too. It was like, oh, okay, cool. It's like, hey, dude was like in the background and you were doing your thing, and it's like, oh, well, a chance meeting that I guess was kind of designed to happen in the long run, and now it helps you to really be even stronger in what you do now because you actually have the actual experience to back it up, and you have the end result that a lot of folks are looking for.
Yes, definitely. Finding soulmate love was probably my number one desire, like a lot of people. And, I didn't just want an okay love. I wanted, epic love. I wanted really meaningful, fulfilling love. And yeah, I just didn't quite know what to look for until I did. So yeah, so it's lovely to have an amazing relationship with an amazing man, and it's also incredibly fulfilling to help others manifest that for themselves and realize that there is actually a proven path. It's we tend to think of, actually just one of my clients this week was saying to me, I think there's an element of luck to it. And I have to respectfully disagree. I don't think there's luck in it at all. And I think that it's a path that can be learned. And what I love about that is that that's within our control. Luck isn't in our control. I think there's an element of divine timing that happens. And maybe that can feel like luck. But I think when we prepare and become the one to attract the one, I think, it's very magnetic to our ideal partner. And so, yeah. So I think that can feel like luck sometimes. It can feel like magic, but I think it's actually something else.
I like it. That's right. Become the one to attract the one. That's what I'm talking about. There we go. There we go. That's right. She's got one liners too, y'all. That's right. She's on fire, baby. That's right. She is on fire. And you're so right about that because the thing is, it's like with luck, it's like it's out there, but it usually happens when you're out in the field doing the work. That's the thing.
Yeah.
People tend to forget.
Yes. There's some famous quote, and I'm going to completely botch it, but it's something about the more prepared I am, the luckier that I get in life. And so I think, we focus on the things that we can control and just release the rest and trust, and the rest happens when we know the steps. That said, I think, a lot of people need support, because we do have blind spots and don't know what we don't know. And so I think having like a mentor or something can really help us fast track what we most want.
Definitely could say that again because you're so darn right. We do have our blind spots when we're metaphorically driving through life here. It's like you can't have the rear view mirror see everything. You can't see everything through the windshield's going to be parts you can't see. And we have folks like you to help us out with those blind spots. So, is there any particular one that may stick out a lot from past experience with working your clients that a lot of folks tend to have where they're on that search for that soulmate love?
Mm, yeah, great question. A lot of people aren't clear on what they're looking for and who would make a great partner for them. I see it very clearly. but that's one thing that a lot of my clients have in common. Um, they don't know what to look for. They also don't know what to weigh and rank higher than something else. Um, so that's pretty consistent across the board. Um, Also, mindset is super important. Mindset really matters, as it does in most things in life. What we believe really matters because our belief dictates our experience. So, mindset is super, super important because what we believe, one, becomes our experience, but two, our energy is derived from our beliefs. So, if we think that life is really difficult, that's going to come through in our energy. And if we think life is exciting and wonderful, that too is going to come across in our energy. And I think we've probably all had the experience of being in a room of strangers, and there's certain people that we feel repelled. We don't need to talk to them, we don't feel compelled to talk to them. And there's other people that we feel really magnetized to and have to go up and talk to. And so all of that is energy, and it's really palpable. And our energy is just an extension of our beliefs. So what we believe is super important. It's all part of mindset.
Sweet. That's what I'm talking about, dude. Because you're so darn right. It's like, hey, if you go in defeated, you're really going to get beaten. So it's like you got to make sure you come in with confidence wherever you're going, especially even after if you have a setback in the love side of the game, especially those maybe coming off of recent divorces or breakups. And it's like, oh, woe is me. Like, darn it. I need to get back in
Yes.
the field quickly and find somebody, as opposed to just really taking a step back and assessing where they are and then taking a deep breath and bit by bit building themselves back up and getting in the field. So definitely appreciate that indeed. Have that mind right, y'all. That's right. Get that
Yeah,
mind right
because
indeed.
that mopey energy, which is certainly understandable when we've gone through difficult times or breakups, we've all been there, is certainly understandable, but it's not sexy, right? I mean, sitting across the table from somebody who's really going through it and is devastated and mopey and sad, that's not what most people are looking for. And to me that just reveals that there's just healing that needs to happen. There's pain, and pain is just intended to heal us. And then once we take the lesson from the pain, then we can move forward more whole. And that's all that pain was intended to do, is to heal us and make us wiser and to choose better next time. So yes, if you find yourself being kind of a mopey dater, you might want to spend a little time, soul searching and kind of nurturing yourself so that you can get to that place where you are radiant and feeling good about yourself.
Woohoo! That's what I'm talking about indeed. That's right. Tap into that radiance, y'all. That's right. Mopey energy does you no good. This ain't Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, y'all. That's right. That's right indeed. Gotta have that radiance, y'all. That's right. Focus on shining the brightest that you can indeed. So my goodness, so since you've been on this little podcast tour where you got so many interviews out there promoting the good work you're doing, is there a question that you wish you'd be asked more often than you're on the guest side of the game on these microphone interviews?
Hmm. I've never thought about that before. Let me think about that. Let me think about that and let me know and let you know. I mean, give me. Maybe you can give me information.
Well, you said let you think about it.
Oh gosh.
Oh man. Oh god. So we're coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive, and that is if you're to wake up tomorrow and you're 25 again, but you're in the current year with all of your knowledge and experience, what advice would you give to yourself?
Mm, 25. I was smack dab in the middle of graduate school at the time. Well, hmm, I think just enjoy the journey, you know? Enjoy the journey because we get just one wild, precious life and it goes so fast.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely can say that again because it's so darn true. It's like, yay. Sweet. Out of high school. Oh, darn, college. Oh, darn, I'm 30. What the heck? What happened to 25? Oh, yeah, that was like a month. That wasn't even a full year.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just seems to get faster over time, you know?
Ah, yeah. If there's a way to make it stop, just throw like a chocolate Snickers at an hourglass and time would chill out a bit, maybe. If only that would help.
If only. Mm.
But hey, for those who want to snicker their way into finding the love of their lives and bring you into their life as their coach, and that can even have part of your offerings and all the other good stuff, what's the best way for folks to reach out to you and learn more about the wonderful stuff you're helping out folks with?
Yeah, definitely. You can reach me at my website, which is findloveatlast.com. Findloveatlast.com. I also have a Facebook group where you can connect with me and other singles called Conscious Singles from Single to Soulmate. And those are probably the two best places to reach me. Um, yeah.
Woohoo! Well, there you have it, folks. Reach out to the good doc herself. That's right. The magical matchmaker's got you covered like a library book, y'all. That's right. That's right indeed. She will find the yang to your yin or your yin to your yang, y'all. That's right. You will be a complete symbol this year in the future with working with this good doctor right here. She's got you covered indeed like a strawberry with chocolate, y'all. She's got you covered indeed. So check out all the stuff. It'll be all in the show notes. So any parting words before we close up shop, Dr. Holly?
Mm, just take good care of yourselves and know that you have far more power than you think you do in dating and that it can be a really great experience. And I'd love to show you how.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. The one listening right now. Thanks a bunch for sharing some of your time out of your day to listen to this podcast. To take it to the next level, be sure to share it with someone that you care about and that would get something out of this podcast too. Advance others to advance yourself.